Welcome to Progression Protocol. Today's video is on how to get stuff done, based upon Dr. Newport's book, Deep Work. Whatever stage of life you're currently in, whether it's college, university or work, it's still important that you not only get stuff done, you produce high quality work. In a world full of Instagram likes, tweets and memes, it seems as though it's impossible to be focused enough to produce results. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm going to provide you with multiple methods to get you to focus and get stuff done. Let's have a quick high-level overview of myelination. In your brain, you have about 100 billion neurons currently that receive processes and send out information to other brain cells. When we're focused on one task, the neural connections that are associated with the task you're doing fire again and again. This creates a process called myelination to happen. Myelination is a sheet of insulation that forms around that neural connection, therefore resulting in the neurons to get fired more faster, easier and consistently. So what does this mean in plain old English? When we're deeply involved and focused on one task and one task alone, we allow the brain to create myelin. If myelin is created, we get better at that specific task and are able to remember it for much longer. The problem is that when we're not focused on one task at a time, we hinder the possibility of myelination to occur, and because of this, we are not able to produce high quality work. When was the last time you were bored for more than a few minutes? Most people can't remember this, and it's not surprising. In the world of social media, addictive games and Netflix, it's hard to be bored. This may seem like it's a good thing, and it is to some degree, but there's also a dark side to it as well. One key to producing high quality work is to train our brain to embrace boredom. We need to starve our brain from the constant urge for novelties such as social media, email and text messages. These attention switches cause distractions and stop our brain from creating a thinking space where it can cleanly think deeply about the task at hand. When we do a just checkup of our messages or social media, we are stopping our brain from using this new thinking space which we have just created. One method of implementing this in your life is by limiting your internet time. By this I mean, instead of always having access to your social media or emails, specify a time throughout the day where you are allowed to browse freely. Another method of training your brain to embrace boredom is by getting used to not using novelties when you have the urge to. For example, if you're waiting in a queue, instead of pulling out your phone and going on to Progression Protocol's Instagram, link in the description, to kill time, just stand there, bored. This will give your brain no other option except to embrace this boredom. This will be hard at first because of the years of social media and distractions abuse on your brain, but like your muscles, the more you train them, the stronger your brain will get. There are different levels of focus and thinking that allow you to produce deep work. By utilizing all the methods mentioned in this video, you are well on your way to achieving these levels. The first mode is monastic. This is the hardest level of focus to achieve. It's like being in monk mode, in a bubble, with nothing but your work in front of you. You've minimized everything else to such a degree, nothing else matters besides your work. The second is bimodal. This mode is when you specify when and how long you are going to do deep work for. This mode is useful because it allows you to allocate certain days when you're going to do nothing but the task and the rest of your time is for the other activities. You could adopt the 4-3 method where you work hard for 4 days and have a 3-day weekend. You could also use the Bill Gates approach of going on think weeks where he does no office work, he just reads and thinks. You could also create your own method up that fits around your life and other commitments. The third one is rhythmic. This is the second easiest out of all the 4 methods to integrate. If you have allocated a specific slot where you do deep work every day, this will create a routine and therefore make it easier for you to get stuff done without willpower. If you want to know how to properly change your habits and behavior, I have an informative video on that. The link is in description. The fourth mode is journalistic. For some people it may not be feasible to do deep work at the same time every day. This could be for many reasons. If this is you, this method might be more relevant to you. A journalistic approach is when you look at your time schedule for the following day and then identify when you are available. And in that chunk of free time, you get your important work done. Disconnect fully. This one might seem counterintuitive to being productive, however, it's a very powerful tool. Disconnect fully means to set a specific time to stop working on that particular task for that day and not touch or think about it till the next day. This is important because it allows 2 things to happen. 1. It allows your brain to recharge. Because your brain hasn't gone into overtime, disconnecting your brain fully allows your brain to recuperate and be ready for tomorrow. Number 2. The more profound benefit of disconnecting fully is that it allows your conscious to rest and then not think about that task. When your conscious is down, this creates space for your unconscious to think and resolve problems which your conscious couldn't do. Now, you might be thinking that your overall work output or work quality will go down, but that's not actually true. Your output will actually increase. This is because you now know that you have a certain time in the day where you will stop working. This deadline will make you work even harder to produce results. You also allow your unconscious to work on problems that your conscience couldn't do. One way of helping you disconnect is by having a shutdown ritual. Find something or do something that will tell your brain it's time to shut down. What Dr. Newport does is that he says shut down complete at the end of his working day. Remember, by being deeply disconnected allows you to be deeply engaged and thus allows you to create deep work. One massive component of producing great work is having a ritual or a routine. If you believe that relying on willpower alone is sufficient to be successful, it's not. Willpower is a finite source and will eventually run out. The same logic applies to good intentions and inspiration. The best way of creating a ritual is by using your willpower, good intentions and inspiration whilst they are at the highest, and use that to structure and create a routine. If you want a more in-depth video of how to create a routine, there's a dedicated video to that. The link is in description. One thing that kills our productivity and our ability to produce high quality work is where our attention is at. We for some reason believe that our brain can switch from one task to another seamlessly without leaving any attention residue. This isn't possible because our brains can't effectively multitask. So when we switch from one task to another and do this back and forth, our brain is still thinking about the last task. This is a problem because our brains can only focus efficiently on one task at a time. So if we're constantly switching, we're not producing great work for either task. So the solution is to make sure that we're only focused upon one task at a time for an extended period of time or until it's done. Only once this time period is up, we can switch to another task and repeat the process again. Most people believe that simply if they put enough time into something, they will produce great work, but this isn't the best approach. This is because there are only 24 hours available that could ever be dedicated to a specific task every day, and this isn't going to change anytime soon. But one thing we could definitely change is the amount of focus we put into each task. By increasing our intensity, concentration and focus on each and every task we undertake, we improve the overall quality of the work produced. So essentially, the quality of work produced is determined by how much time you put in, multiplied by the focus level you have. Having free time which you just leave and do nothing with drains your energy. There's nothing more demotivating than sitting in a room lethargic with laziness with nothing to do. You should avoid this at all costs. Please note, simply just wasting time by not doing anything is different to embracing boredom. This is where planning your leisure time comes in. By allocating your leisure time for the following day, will you not only have something exciting to look forward to, you would also stop the urge from having your leisure time whilst doing your work, which will cause distractions, and as we've already discussed, this is awful for your productivity. These leisure activities can be anything, as long as you enjoy it and are fully engaged during it. It can vary from simply going onto your social media accounts, going to the cinema or even skydiving, whatever takes your fancy. If you like this type of content, drop a like and subscribe down below. Thanks for watching. Peace.